Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for attending our session today. My name is Jill Johnson, and I will be your host for the session, Scaling Solutions in the AU Library to provide just-in-time information literacy instruction to students. I'm very excited about Elizabeth Grossman, Senior Director of Library Services at Ashford University, sharing these resources and tools for us. The chat window will be available at the end of the session for your questions and comments. And I'd like to welcome Elizabeth. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Jill. My name is Elizabeth Grossman, and as Jill mentioned, I'm the Senior Director of Library Services at Ashford University. And today I will be talking to you all about how the Ashford Library has implemented scalable solutions in order to teach information literacy concepts to students. All right, this presentation was put together by several librarians on our team, and I want to show you some here. Jacqueline Contrino, Dana Half, Cynthia Lewis, Rebecca Nowicki, and Kristen White. It was absolutely a team effort. And typically in the Ashford University Library, historically, personalized support has usually meant one-on-one interactions between students and librarians. And these interactions have taken the form of chat, email, and phone service. And we still do this. So it's not like we used to do it and we stopped doing it, but we absolutely still do it. But our library team is very small. So this model of providing one-on-one instruction is not very scalable, and it's really not sustainable. So we knew we had to come up with some scalable solutions in order to provide instruction to many students at once. So today I'm going to be talking about 3 different solutions we implemented. The first are point-of-need customized supports that we embed in courses. The second is a knowledge-based tool called Quick Answers. And the third is a live webinar series called Library U. Well, to give you a little information about our point-of-need instruction interventions, these generally take the form of videos and interactive learning modules. They are embedded in the classroom, usually at the assignment level, and they're aligned with particular assignments. So they target a particular research need that is asked for in the particular assignment. It's seamless to students. These modules are seamless to students in that they frequently they're embedded right there. They click a play button and they're able to watch the video or module right there without going anywhere else. Again, they're targeted towards specific assignments, and they're highly collaborative in that many librarians on our team participate in the writing of the scripts for these modules and in the actual production of the modules. And we partner very closely with faculty, instructional designers, and curriculum coordinators to get these embedded in the courses. And typically, these modules have focused on high-impact courses, generally courses with very high enrollment, and usually courses that are lower-level general education courses. Today, I'm going to talk about one particular course and one particular learning module that we created. So we looked at English 122. This is one of the earlier general ed courses. And this is the first course that really requires students to do quite a bit of research. They're required to do research in every week of the course, and essentially they have to do research in order to create an annotated bibliography for the topic they choose to write about for their final paper. We targeted this course not only because it was the first research course, but because we in the library received questions from many, many students who were taking this course. They didn't know where to get started for their assignment. They didn't know how to use the library databases to find information. So they were our best customers, in other words. We really knew that we needed to create a solution that would really provide them with some concrete instruction right at the point of need. Fortunately, when we proposed the idea of creating a custom module, faculty who were teaching this course were very, very supportive of the idea. All right, so what we did was we set about creating a custom interactive learning module targeted at teaching the skills and concepts that students would need based on the specifics of the final assignment and learning outcomes for this particular course. We titled this module the Nitty-Gritty, and it taught the following skills. Number one, it taught that the research process in college is very different from what the students were used to in high school. It's a whole different process, much more complex. Secondly, the module taught students how to extract important concepts from the thesis and assignment prompt to generate keywords. It also taught how to search in our library databases and how to enter keywords in the search boxes. And by library databases, I mean ProQuest, EBSCO, JSTOR, SAGE. Those are probably the most heavily used research databases that we offer in the library. This module also taught what tools the library databases offer to help students do their research, and it taught students how to navigate in the databases, because it's not like Google. These databases kind of have their own language, have their own look and feel, so it's really not intuitive. So we needed a module that would instruct students how to get around in these library databases. So there were several interactive components of this particular module for English 122. So in this screenshot here, the narrator, or the librarian, first explained to the students how they could identify keywords in an assignment prompt. And then the student was asked to pick keywords from the prompt that were displayed in a list. This slide shows you, where you see the highlighting there over certain words, the keywords that a particular student chose from this list. These were the keywords that the student deemed to be the most important in the prompt. So after the student chose the keywords, the librarian then discussed which of those keywords were best and maybe which were not the best to use when searching databases. So for example, homeschooling, United States, socialization, these are all great words to use. The databases will recognize these keywords and bring back results associated with the keywords. Now, the words for and against, well, those particular keywords may not actually show up in an article that's discussing the pros and cons of homeschooling. Instead of words like a word like for, the librarian in the module would suggest maybe advantages or benefits. Instead of using the word against, the librarian might suggest challenges or disadvantages. Those words might be more likely to appear in articles. So the next step, the next exercise in this module after this particular exercise is where the students had to practice entering these keywords that they identified into one of the library databases, right in the search box. And again, this was just one of the interactive activities that the students came across when they watched this module. So this module was embedded in English 122. And this slide here will show you how many fewer questions we received from students in this course after we embedded this module in English 122. It was embedded in April of 2014, and our questions, the number of questions we received from students in this course dropped 80%. That's a significant decrease. We attributed it to the fact that students were getting the instruction they needed right there in their classroom when they needed it and did not have to reach out to a librarian to get help. Now we hear from very few students in that course, maybe 1% to 2%. So by embedding modules and tutorials, videos, etc. in courses, we're really able to teach information literacy and research instruction to many students at once, right when they need it and where they need it. We take a very proactive approach by doing this. So we don't wait for students to contact us. We recognize where the pain points might be with particular assignments. especially assignments that have complex or unique research questions or research requirements. So we like to take a proactive approach and whenever possible, create these custom modules. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit here and talk about a second scalable solution that our library has implemented in the last couple of years. This is a service called Quick Answers. It's essentially a giant knowledge base containing information literacy and research-related questions and corresponding answers. These questions are based on questions that the librarians have received over the years from students. The librarians on the team write the question and they write the corresponding answers. And this Quick Answers button that you see here is on every page of the library website, so it's easy to find. And what's nice about this knowledge base is that it is available 24/7. So if a student doesn't feel comfortable contacting the library or isn't able to contact us when we're available, then this is a perfect solution. I think we're up to well over 100 questions now in this database, and we add new questions all the time. So just to give you a quick idea of how it works, a student is able to type a keyword or a question into this search box, and some suggested questions will pop up underneath, as you can see here. When a student clicks on one of those questions, they'll get the answer that you see down below on the screen here. And this is an answer that closely resembles an answer they would get if they contacted the librarians via phone, chat, or email. And what's nice about these answers is we're able to link out to particular tutorials and videos that we've created. Now, if a student types in a keyword or a question and doesn't like any of the suggested questions, they're able to click that blue Ask Us button, and a form will pop up and will automatically populate with the keyword or question they originally entered, and they can submit that form, and it comes directly to the librarian via email, and the librarian is able to respond directly through this tool to the student. Now, this Quick Answers service has a great feature, a behind-the-scenes feature that only librarians have access to. It's called Query Spy, and as you can see here, this is a screenshot from the Query Spy area. This shows us the keywords or the questions that a student typed into that search box, and it shows us what the student did after they typed in that term. Did they end up choosing one of the suggested questions that popped up? Did they simply decide to submit the form to a librarian? So it gives us a behind-the-scenes look at the questions and the pain points that our students have. We use this information to add new questions and answers to the knowledge base or tweak questions and answers that are already in there. So that was our Quick Answer service. Our third scalable solution that has been very successful is a live webinar series for students and faculty, and we call it Library U. We really, again, needed a way to teach information literacy and research concepts to many students at once, preferably in a synchronous way. So we came up with this library series. The webinars are offered on the first and third Tuesdays of every month at the same time. And the topics, we're up to something like, I think, 10 or 12 topics now. We add new topics every year. And to give you an idea of some of the topics, library orientation, changing assignment prompts into keywords, saving and organizing your research, using ebooks in the Ashford Library, etc. So it's not only acquainting students with how to do research, but it's getting them acquainted with our library and the different resources we have within the library that they have available to them. The nice thing is we're able to record these webinars, and we post the link to the recording on the library website. So if a student can't attend the webinar, they're able to come back to our library website and watch the recording. We market these webinars quite heavily, actually. We post announcements in the student portal, and we send emails to faculty and include text that the faculty can post directly in the classroom. And so we do this prior to every webinar, so every 2 weeks basically. Now we use the Adobe Connect platform for these webinars, and as you all know, it has a pretty good chat feature. So this allows the students who are attending the webinar to ask questions about the content as the webinar is taking place. They're able to ask the librarians about what they're hearing and seeing in the webinar. And we find that many students end up connecting with each other via the chat box, and they frequently start chatting about topics that sometimes are not even related to the webinar or the material that's being presented. So we always get a kick out of that, and we actually we feel that that's one of the best, I guess, byproducts of these webinars. It allows students the opportunity to interact with one another in real time. They really don't have other opportunities to do that. So we feel that's a really important feature for them to be able to use as they're attending the webinar. So those are, I have to say, all three of these scalable solutions have been very, very successful, and our data show that they truly have contributed to student learning here at Ashford. So now I'd like to open up the floor to questions you might have.
Judy asks our students more.
Hi, Judy is asking if are students more successful in the assignment once the module is in. We have been collecting data on that, and that's kind of a work in progress. I think we do have data. I don't have the numbers with me, but we have collected rubric level data that pertains to using appropriate resources in their assignment, and we have data that does show that absolutely rubric scores for that particular rubric have improved after the module has been embedded. And we continue to track all of this on a regular basis because clearly that's our aim here, is improving student learning and really kind of just making the whole process, the whole research process, less intimidating to students, and again, just taking instruction to them where they need it, when they need it.
Elizabeth, looks like we have another person typing. But just the question I received from faculty, and as you said, a lot of these modules or resources are being developed maybe for course specific. Is that something that you guys are looking to do more often, or like high-risk courses? Is there a certain area you look for?
When we're creating, when we decide which courses we're going to create custom modules for, is that what you're asking, Jill?
Yeah. Yes, or yes, exactly.
Yeah, we absolutely plan to do more of it. We do have, because again, we have a very, very small team and kind of limited resources, and a lot of these modules are really resource intensive and time intensive. We do have a way to prioritize which courses we're going to create modules for. We tend to look at enrollment numbers, so we tend to go with courses that have high enrollment. Also courses that are on the top 50 retention list as well, because we know that there's really a lot of effort being put into improving retention in those 50 courses. We look at those courses. Again, we look at our own one-on-one interactions with students. If we're hearing over and over again from students in a particular course, we may consider creating a specific module for that course. Also, we look at courses that have an especially unique or complex research assignment too, that really requires additional support and intervention. We may create a module for that. So we take a lot of different factors into consideration when we decide to do this, but we highly encourage faculty who might be interested in learning more about our process and might be interested in partnering with us to see if we could create something. We encourage you to contact the library. We'll be happy to talk to you about that. Yes.
Great. It looks like we have a couple questions in the chat.
Okay, so Michael's asking, how is resource utilization being measured, and how are we looking forward to further develop our resources? Are you talking about the embedded modules, Michael? I assume that's what you're referring to. That is a little trickier to capture. I don't think eCollege is able to give us, we know what's being viewed, and we do know how many minutes a particular module is being viewed, but we don't know, we don't have the level of detail that we ideally would like in terms of usage. You know, we don't have a clear picture of how many students are looking at it, or if they're looking at it on the library website versus at it in, you know, if it's embedded in the course. So we don't have the level of detail that we really want. And you asked, how are we looking forward to further develop our resources? Again, I'm not totally clear on what you mean there. If you can clarify, that would be great. You do ask, are there any surveys that are geared towards students that have utilized resources in the past? We do, in fact, right now there's a survey out, a library survey of students, and we are asking them which library services or resources they are using. One of the items, one of the choices they have on that is, you know, are you watching our videos and all our modules? But again, we don't know necessarily if they're going to our library website and watching tutorials or if they're watching the ones that are embedded in their courses. That's a little trickier to capture. And so you clarified, how are we looking forward to further develop our resources? The embedded. So you mean how are we, well, we again, we'd love to hire more people. We have a new digital technologies librarian starting here in a couple of weeks. She will be dedicating a lot of her time to developing these. If we could, we would love to develop custom modules for many, many courses here. But because I don't see a huge jump in our staffing in the next year or so, this is why we've had to kind of come up with a policy of how we're going to prioritize which courses we address with custom modules. But I need to mention also, we do continue to develop more general information literacy and research-related tutorials that we house on the library website. So we don't always just create custom modules. Many courses out there, you know, here at Ashford, also contain these more general, higher level information literacy videos or modules that we've created. So luckily we have a whole collection of these tutorials that can be beneficial. So that's another reason for faculty to reach out to us if they have an interest in getting some library instruction embedded in the course. We may not be able to create a custom module for you, but we can certainly connect you with the appropriate module that we have in our general collection.
Wonderful, Elizabeth. I know we have maybe a few more people typing, but I just want to thank you again for sharing this information and for your presentation, as well as all of those who attended this session. This presentation will be available for viewing in the CETL soon. We will send out an email when the live sessions are available. Don't forget to go to the TLC app and rate the session. There's a link also at the bottom of the Adobe room for a quick survey on this session, and look for an end of course or end of conference survey to provide more in-depth